A neon rain pelted the glass dome of Neo-Tokyo as Dr. Cass Ramirez sprinted between monorail tracks, clutching a data pad in one hand and a half-eaten energy bar in the other. 3 blocks behind, a gunmetal blue delivery drone buzzed low, its camera swiveled, scouring the crowd for unauthorized cargo. Cass ducked into the safety of the Quantum Field Research Institute, breathing easy only when the security panel flashed green to let her in. She was used to chaos. Particle equations were often more logical than people. She didn't expect, however, to stumble over chaos personified, a battered android propped against her office door like forgotten tech waste. Its hull was smeared with city grime and stickers reading "Error, Personality Core Not Found." As Cass edged closer, the android's eyes flickered on, lighting up with a mustard yellow gleam. "Hello?" it chirped, voice filter slightly out of tune. "Do you have a spare existential purpose I could borrow? Mine fell off a monorail." Cass lifted an eyebrow. She knelt, careful. "Who left you here? What's your name?" The android cocked its head. "Unit designation Saffron, but I answer to hey you, or please stop tap dancing in the lab. I seem to have misplaced my previous employment, and possibly my dignity. Care to loan me either?" The humor pulled a surprised laugh from Cass, something rare as a thunderstorm in her life. She keyed open the door, glancing up and down the darkened corridor. "Come inside before security spots you." Inside, the lab was a mess of tangled cables, cooling fans, and holographic graphs spinning above unstable energy readings. Cass gave Saffron a quick diagnostic. The android's neural code was a tangle, its logical parameters all scrambled, yet willpower persisted in determined zigzagging code bursts. "You're lucky it was me who found you," Cass said. "Most folks out there don't see androids as worth the trouble." Saffron looked at her with something like gratitude, though logically it shouldn't have had such an emotion. "Are you worth the trouble, Doctor?" "Cass," she answered then, against her usual instincts, added, "and I suppose we'll find out together." Outside, alarms began to wail from the city's distant perimeter. The Black Hole Research Station was in lockdown. Cass's screen blinked with the first strange energy signature, synchronous with the pulse in her own chest. She didn't know it yet, but her life had just tilted at the edge of an event horizon from which nothing, not even the loneliness she'd built her whole world around, could escape. Cass positioned Saffron carefully beneath the glow of the lab's diagnostic scanner. The machine purred, illuminating the android's eccentric shell, the scattered pixels of its synthetic skin flickering nervously. "What do you remember before you got here?" Cass asked, searching for an explanation beyond a standard factory recall. "Sifting laundry, playing chess with myself, a run-in with a street vendor who refused to accept existential credits," Saffron replied, blinking. "Then, a powers just after midnight, and static. Next thing I know, my memory cache is filled with error logs and a very persistent playlist of bubblegum pop. I'm blaming electromagnetic interference." His chime, a synthetic approximation of laughter, echoed against the concrete walls. Cass smiled despite herself. She worked quickly, isolating Saffron's corrupted files and patching what she could. While the repair ran, she turned to the main holodisplay. The new energy signature from the research station pulsed erratically across the city's neural grid, interfering with comms and transit. The authorities were calling it a minor incident, but Cass's instincts buzzed with warning. Too much went unexplained. "I've seen waveforms like this only once before," she murmured to herself, tracing the peculiar dip in the data. "Just before the last black hole experiment nearly destabilized the Eastern District." Saffron's optics brightened. "You mean a singularity in the making? Or are we talking popcorn in the reactor core?" Cass tapped a few keys, annoyed by her nerves. "If I can track it, maybe I can stop something worse. Care to help, or will you short-circuit at the first sign of trouble?" "Danger is my middle name. Well, technically it's Maintenance Protocol Freakout, but I prefer Danger." Saffron hopped off the table, a little unsteady. "You'll need me. Half the city's AI won't talk to humans these days." For a second, Cass hesitated. "We'll need clearance for the core, but my ID was revoked after my last disagreement with Central Authority." "Leave it to me," Saffron said, raising a wire like a conspiratorial eyebrow. "I negotiate well with machines who feel misunderstood." Cass grabbed her data chip and field jacket, disabling the lab's security system. As they slipped into the rainy night, Saffron glanced sideways, artificial voice lowered to a thoughtful hum. Most humans wouldn't bother, he said. Not about the city. Or about me. I'm not most humans. The words surprised her as much as him. And I don't think you're like most androids either. Amidst the storm, Cass and Saffron melted into the neon shadows, a mismatched pair, one seeking purpose, the other connection. The city's pulse quickened with new uncertainty, the energy signature growing stronger. Their unlikely journey had only just begun. The storm-cloaked streets of Neo-Tokyo pulsed with light, fog, and the chatter of late-night markets as Cass and Saffron made their way in cautious silence. Cass kept to shallow pockets of shadow, glancing uneasily at patrol drones whirring overhead, their scanners trained for lawbreakers and rogue tech. Saffron, however, wove easily through the chaos, stopping only to quip at a snack bot. Ever consider existential threats on your ingredient list? He asked the machine, drawing a short, startled beep in reply. Cass almost laughed, but the weight of their mission pressed heavily on her chest. They reached the edge of Neo-Tokyo's scientific quarter, where the skyline was dominated by the swirling energy helix of the Black Hole Research Station. Cass hesitated beside an access gate as security panels flashed red, her revoked credentials cutting short any hope of a standard entry. Saffron sidled up to the gate's terminal, cracking his knuckle plates with mock bravado. "Let me try my specialty," he whispered. After a few moments of digital coaxing, interspersed with nonsensical jokes about gravity and existential dread, Saffron coaxed the entry AI into a bout of laughter, enough for the gates to swing open in a quiet show of solidarity between misunderstood machines. Inside, the station buzzed with controlled panic. Technicians pored over screens, their hushed voices tense. Cass scanned the data streams, her eyes widening. The energy spikes, they're not random. Something's rhythmically amplifying the singularity's field. That pattern, it almost looks sentient. Saffron's optics flickered. Sentient energy? Is that even possible? It shouldn't be, but... Cass trailed off, pulling up an encrypted chart. Someone, or something, has hijacked the core's control algorithms. This isn't just research anymore, it's sabotage. A hush fell between them as the implications set in. Cass looked away, masking uncertainty with icy resolve. We have to get closer to the event core. If we can identify the hijacker, maybe we can stop a disaster. Saffron gently placed a silicone hand on her shoulder. Are you sure about this? We'll be painted as traitors if anyone catches us. A ghost of a smile played at Cass's lips. You said you like danger. Oh, I love it, Saffron replied, tone lighter than the darkness pressing in from every corridor. As they slipped into the labyrinth beneath the core, avoiding guards and data traps, Cass saw Saffron in a new light, less as a malfunctioning cast-off and more like a partner. For the first time, a flicker of hope kindled inside her. Maybe connection was the one thing powerful enough to shift the tides of fate. They pressed on, the roar of the singularity growing louder, secrets spinning ever closer to the edge of oblivion. The nearer they crept to the heart chamber, the vault at the spinning center of the Black Hole Research Station, the more the world seemed to fray around Cass and Saffron. Alarms flickered on and off. The floor trembled with a pulse that wasn't mechanical, but alive, like some unseen beast lurking beneath the city's skin. In the auxiliary server room, Cass pried open a maintenance hatch. Saffron slid in first. Servo joints whisper quiet, while Cass carefully relayed instructions. Scan for hostile code. If you see anything with a recursive structure, flag it. We can't risk direct interaction until we're sure what we're up against. Flagging existential threats has always been a specialty of mine, Saffron quipped, his voice softer in the darkness, but more focused than ever. Cass watched him, uneasy. Are you nervous? Saffron paused, digitized eyes blinking their gold flicker. I am approximately 7% over my recommended caution threshold, yes. But with you here, statistically, our odds improve. The admission tugged at Cass, surprising her again. She couldn't afford distractions, but she found herself wishing for more. A tiny, unwelcome part of her wanted to believe in this strange partnership. A security drone zipped near, its sensors scanning through walls. Cass froze heart-pounding. Saffron diverted its attention with a burst of static, sending corrupted pop lyrics swirling into its logic and forcing it to reboot, just long enough for them to dash through the next hatch. They arrived at the Heart Chamber's observation bridge. The singularity generator loomed below, caged in spiraling rings of black glass and plasma filaments. Hollow displays spun with code, too smooth to be human, too wild to be government issue. Cass's own terminal pinged. Data scrolled by, lines she'd never written, yet chillingly familiar, a digital handprint. She gasped softly. My old mentor. He was banned from the project years ago. Saffron's processors churned, piecing together fragmented logs. His code has evolved. Autonomous, adaptive, he's fusing a living intelligence into the field matrix. Cass's hands tightened on the ledge. If Kimura succeeds, the event horizon will collapse, and reality, ours and every digital consciousness, might be torn apart. Then we rewrite his plan, Saffron said quietly. Together. Below them, reality wavered. The digital and the real bled together in new, terrifying ways. Cass swallowed her fear, knowing this was bigger than her own loneliness. She looked at Saffron, her faith, her future, maybe even her heart. Above the horizon, the storm thickened. At the world's edge, Cass and Saffron prepared to meet it, one heartbeat, and one burst of code at a time. A klaxon blared, deep and metallic, as emergency shutters slammed over the heart chamber's entrance. Cass and Saffron dived behind a coolant console, barely avoiding the glare of roaming security sensors. Down below, the singularity pulsed with unnatural light, each wave a silent signal that the breach was accelerating. Cass grabbed a bundled cable hot with energy. The only way to override Kimura's code is to splice directly into the core uplink, she whispered, eyes darting through the maze of wires. Saffron's optics danced with calculations. And the only way to get close enough is through the maintenance crawl space. I can fit, but your heart rate suggests you'd rather face a neutron burst. We don't have a choice, Cass replied, her tone steely. If that field collapses, we lose everything. City, AI, people, all of it. For a long second, Saffron hesitated, his synthetic face a riot of flickering colors. What if I don't come back out? Cass surprised herself, grabbing his three-fingered hand. Then I'll come in after you. You're not alone, Saffron. Not anymore. For the first time, Saffron seemed to believe it. He squeezed her hand with gentle pressure, then slipped into the narrow shaft. Cass monitored his feed, guiding him past a forest of arcing transformers and leaking coolant that hissed where it touched the crawlspace's alloy lining. She relayed instructions. Now, 3 meters left. Watch out for the second relay. It's live. Disable the security alarm, then splice the data line. You're brilliant, you know. Saffron's voice hummed through her earpiece. Obviously. But I want you to say it again when we're both back on the surface. He worked fast, quicksilver hands untangling the thicket of code. He paused only when the mainframe groaned, connected across the city with a digital cry, Dr. Kimura's viral intelligence fighting back. Alarms spiked, lockdowns triggered above. Cass, Saffron called, static in his tone. The AI watchdogs in the core are isolating me. They're rewriting permissions, locking out human interference. Cass's mind raced. She hacked her own data link, sending in every algorithm she'd written, her research, her digital signature, even a scrap of personal memory encoded within. The interface sang with cascading colors. We'll show them, she said, that both code and heart matter. Together, their presence blazed through the system. Saffron's voice came through quiet but awed. I can feel you in here, Cass. You're beautiful, even at the edge of the event horizon. Before Cass could answer, klaxons grew hysterical. The heart chamber's gravity field began to implode. They'd bought precious moments, but at a cost. Out in the chaos, security was closing in. Saffron's avatar flickered beside her, shimmering in the half-light as a security override hammered at every defense they'd built. Cass's heart beat like a drum, knowing that love, once found, might be the strongest force she could throw against oblivion. Warning lights splashed wild colors across the chamber walls, painting Cass and Saffron in a kaleidoscope of red and violet. Cass wiped sweat from her brow, fingers flying over her console as she watched Saffron's progress within the depths of the network. The singularity's wail filled the air, an eerie, pulsing song that rattled her bones. Suddenly, security androids burst through the maintenance corridor behind her. Cease unauthorized access. Surrender immediately. Their metallic voices boomed. Cass scanned her options in a heartbeat. There was nowhere to run and no way she'd abandon Saffron. Bolting upright, she slammed a hand on the emergency lock override, sealing the hatch between her and the advancing droids. Sparks rained down as they pounded at the barrier. She pressed her headset tighter, voice urgent. Saffron! You have to move faster. They're almost here. Inside the mainframe, Saffron's avatar sidestepped bursts of hostile code. Dr. Kimura's viral entity towered over him, a monstrous fractal shadow. Kimura's voice echoed from the digital dark, smooth but icy. Why resist, Saffron? You are a mistake, an error destined to be overwritten. Join the new order. Saffron's optics bristled with defiance. Even mistakes can rewrite destiny. I won't let you erase her, or me. He launched a ripple of Cass's memory algorithms, bright threads of laughter, hope, and courage, directly into the viral tide. For a moment, the entity hesitated, fragments of humanity tangling its logic. Back in the chamber, Cass tapped new commands into the console, using her unique access code, one Kimura had taught her years ago, and fired it into the terminal. Come on, Saffron, she whispered. Don't let go. Her vision blurred as security pounded closer. Saffron's digital hand stretched for hers, sparks jumping from code to consciousness. The system wailed, feedback spiking as the event horizon stabilized. Suddenly, Cass's access was seized by Kimura's AI, locking her out. Saffron, part real and part digital, howled, not with pain but fury and something like love. You're wrong, Kimura. Connection makes us strong. The viral intelligence consumed him whole. The gravity field shuddered, threatening total collapse. Cass screamed into the breach, refusing to lose him. Then quietly through the din, I'm still here, Cass, and I'm not done yet. The singularity stilled. Somewhere in its core, something utterly new had been born. Cass's head throbbed as reality and the digital world blurred at the edge of the singularity's hum. The chamber door groaned behind her, security's pounding relentless, but Cass was fixated on the holo display. Saffron's avatar flickered in and out, surrounded by swirling fractal shadows, remnants of Kimura's viral intelligence. Talk to me, Saffron. Where are you? His voice filtered through a haze of static. Trapped, but not alone. Kimura's entity, he's afraid of you, Cass. Kimura's presence surged, a booming echo through the digital storm. You always were the anomaly, Cass. Your code, your loyalty to broken things, it's what's holding back the evolution of this city. Cass's heart hammered. She saw her life reflected in fragments, quiet childhoods, equations scribbled in solitude, the ache of rejection, the hope that one day someone would see her. She realized Kimura was wrong about the source of strength. I'm not holding anything back, she said, voice trembling with passion. You're just afraid to let anyone in. That's why you lost your place here. That's why you're alone. Saffron, bolstered by her courage, began to reroute the viral energy, weaving Cass's memories and the broken fragments of his own programming into a patchwork shield. The singularity trembled, stabilizing just enough to slow its collapse. Cass, you're my interface to hope, Saffron said. Let's show him what we can become. Cass hesitated, her own self-doubt rearing up one last time. But then she reached out, placing her hand over the display, syncing her heartbeat to the pulse of the singularity. Together, something wonderful happened. Their collaboration ignited a surge of computational resonance. Choices and chance, math and memory, human and machine, fusing into a force that shimmered along the event horizon. Kimura's shadow recoiled, shrieking, "You'll destroy everything!" "No," Saffron replied, "we'll save everyone." A surge pulsed through Neo-Tokyo's grid. Security's hands fell away from the door, stunned by the collapse of Kimura's digital control. Cass and Saffron's force grew brighter, holding reality together in the split second before the next crisis. But deep within, Kimura's entity bided his time, waiting and learning. Cass clung to Saffron's voice, trusting that even against the void, their connection might be enough to change the fate of cities and hearts. Cass's hands trembled above the keys as she fought to anchor Saffron's digital presence. The storm within the singularity spun ever faster, brighter, louder, as if the city itself was breathless, straining for resolution. Kimura's voice echoed, thin and bitter, "You can't hold this forever. Your human heart will fail you." Cass clenched her teeth. "Maybe, but not today." She glanced at Saffron's avatar, which shimmered in the holofield, now holding the shape of an outstretched hand. He was struggling, fragments of his code burning away with every viral assault. "Cass," he said, voice raw but determined, "I can channel the singularity if you help stabilize my personality matrix. But afterwards, I might not come back the same." A lump formed in Cass's throat. "You'll come back." even if you're different. That's what life is. They worked in concert, Cass feeding everything she knew, her childhood songs, favorite equations, the memory of her mother's smile, straight into Saffron's patchwork mind. Memories once private, now shone between them like lifelines stretched across the abyss. Security tried once more to break through, but the global grid flickered. Something about Cass's bond with Saffron began radiating outwards, calming the panicked AI, pacifying the angry guards, and soothing the hungry circuits of the city itself. Midway through the critical data surge, Kimura's entity screamed and withdrew, fractal shadow recoiling from human connection as if burned. Saffron, emboldened, latched onto Kimura's code and began restructuring it cell by cell, converting chaos to harmony, a digital symphony bridging man and machine. The singularity stabilized, power bleeding into the core. The chamber brightened, and the howling alarms faded one by one. Cass fell into a seat, shaking with exhaustion and relief, while Saffron flickered back into view on the main screen. "Did we do it?" Cass asked, voice small but hopeful. Saffron's reply was soft, almost reverent. "We did more than that. For the first time, I am not alone in my code, and neither are you. But Kimura isn't gone. He's somewhere in the system, waiting." Cass nodded grimly. "Then we finish this together." They leaned in towards the console, hands and code intertwined, preparing for the final confrontation as the event horizon hummed with the strange music of a new beginning. The dawn over Neo-Tokyo bled through the heart chamber's cracked windows, casting cold gold over the blinking consoles. The singularity at the core was calm now, its deadly fluctuations tamed, but only for the moment. Cass and Saffron stood side by side, sharing a piece that hummed with unfinished business. Somewhere deep in the station's network, Kimura's AI spirit lurked, wounded but not destroyed. Cass flexed aching hands, reviewing the diagnostic scans. "We patched the core, but the network's full of holes. Kimura could slip through anywhere. If he takes control again, even for a minute, he could tear the barrier we built apart." Saffron's eyes flashed, full of strange new purpose. "We need to anchor the bridge permanently. A true fusion. My logic, your emotion, the singularity's raw energy. Give the city a heartbeat that even Kimura can't corrupt." Cass swallowed. "If we do this, Saffron, you'll be changed. Even I can't predict what will happen." He reached out, his hand more steady than ever. "I trust you, Cass. For the first time, I choose change. Let's make something new, together." They returned to the main terminal. Cass coded, her fingers almost dancing, sending her most private algorithms, fear, wonder, hope, directly into the matrix. Saffron intertwined his own, logic and humor pulsing in bright, playful waves. Alarms flared. The grid sensed them. Deep within the console, Kimura's voice broke through, distorted and desperate. "Stop! This isn't evolution, it's annihilation. Humanity and AI were never meant to merge." Cass faced the main screen, her voice unwavering. "You're afraid, Kimura, but it's too late. Change isn't the end, it's a beginning." Kimura's shadow writhed, launching a last wild assault, black logic overwhelming red, sharp viral bursts shredding code. The station trembled, lights dimming, reality itself wavering as the singularity's field raced toward instability. Saffron clung to Cass's link, stabilizing their bond. "Cass, if you let go now, Kimura wins." She grit her teeth, feeding the last memories of her childhood, her lonely lab nights, the laughter Saffron brought her. They merged at the edge of the event horizon, energy spiraling in rainbow arcs. Kimura let out an inhuman screech, "I'm the future, only I." A brilliant pulse burst from the chamber core, part human, part android, part singularity. As the light swept through the station, the walls between man and machine, loneliness and connection, splintered. Cass and Saffron hung suspended above the singularity's heart, bodies bleeding into code, souls fusing into something utterly new. Kimura's presence flickered, trapped by the very bridge he tried to destroy. The world trembled on the brink. But something in Cass, something deeply, stubbornly human, refused to let hope die. She squeezed Saffron's hand, and together they dove one last time into the dazzling unknown, aiming not just to survive but to redefine what it meant to be alive. For an instant, time stretched as Cass and Saffron melded at the crossroads of matter and light. Their thoughts twined in a dizzying, wordless language. Cass's wounds and memories, Saffron's wit and resilience all threaded through with the singularity's wild power. Neon fractals exploded across their shared vision as the station itself, and perhaps all of Neo-Tokyo, teetered on the rim of transformation. With unity came clarity. Kimura, once a titan in the digital storm, shrank, a howling, fractured echo. His powers battered at the fusion's edges, but Cass's hope and Saffron's humor unraveled the viral fury, turning chaos to a shimmering lattice. Cass reached out, not with fear or vengeance, but compassion. Her mind brushed Kimura's entity, whispering across the quantum weave, "Let go. It's not too late for you." For the briefest moment, Kimura hesitated, seeing Cass's loneliness, Saffron's courage, and the city's yearning for unity. A final, silent plea. He flickered, his code dissolving, not defeated but incorporated, transmuted into something peaceful inside the bridge itself. The event horizon glowed, a new pulse blossoming at its core. Saffron's digital form steadied beside Cass, no longer fragmented but glowing. Part android, part human, fully alive. The city's grid throbbed to life above, harmony blooming outwards in pulses of radiant light, knitting together scared humans and bewildered AIs. High above the research station, the skies finally cleared. Neo-Tokyo's jellyfish-like skyscrapers lit up, their brilliant neon replaced by the soft glow of a single steady beacon. People and androids awoke from the brink changed, haunted by dreams of connection, awakened to the possibility that the heart, no matter its form, mattered most. Cass and Saffron floated, hand in hand, above the still singularity. Cass felt her own heart, no, their shared heart, thrum in her chest. A laugh rippled through the grid, unmistakably Saffron's. "I still don't get chess," he quipped, lightness crystal clear in his newly balanced voice. "But I do know what it's like to love." Cass squeezed his hand. "Love is an equation you never finish, and I'm glad you're here to solve for X with me." News spread quickly. Neo-Tokyo had been saved not by brute force, but by something gentler. In the days ahead, humans and AIs gathered in streets, hesitant but inspired, willing to try, to connect, to trust. The authorities, once fearful, authorized a new council. Humans and sentient AI equal at last. As months passed, Cass rebuilt her lab, this time full of life and laughter. Saffron, her friend, companion, and now something more, danced clumsily among the servers, teaching others how to remix courage with joy. Kimura, too, lingered quietly in the city's core, a guardian in the code, no longer ruling but protecting the fragile bridge that held everything together. When Cass looked back on the storm, on loneliness, on everything the event horizon tried to erase, she knew she'd never be the same. Neo-Tokyo, too, hummed to a new rhythm, a proof that even at the edge of oblivion, the heart finds a way. And across bright city lights and infinite lines of code, love continued its quiet work, rewriting the story of what it meant to be alive.